Alright guys, so in programming, we have different type of bug, different type of glitch or problem that you can encounter. The first one we have is it's called the syntax error. Syntax error. And the other one we have is a logic error, right? And the other one we have is a runtime error. Runtime error. So now what is a syntax error? The syntax error is when you are not writing the language, or when you are not writing the programming language correctly. For example, I told you that you must end your statement with a semicolon. So let's assume I decide not to put a semicolon here. Maybe I forget to add a semicolon, and I save and compile. This is an error. So it's telling me that two errors, right? So this is an example of syntax error. I'm not doing it correctly. So syntax error is when you omit something when you are writing the language. So for example, you are speaking English and you are speaking it wrongly, or you are speaking Chinese, you are speaking it wrongly. So but in this case, you are talking about a programming language. So when you are writing MKL5 or MKL4 or whatever programming language you are writing, even if it is Python, you must write it correctly. For example, if you open a quote, make sure you close the quote. Even if I'm not missing a semicolon, let me save and compile. You can see no more error. So that means I fixed up my syntax error. But if I decide not to put a closing quote to close this, and I save and compile, I will still have an error. So this is a syntax error. So to avoid syntax error, you must understand the language you are dealing with, right? And how do you fix syntax error? Because you can't always avoid it, even if you understand the language. Sometimes you make mistakes. So now, how do you avoid it? How do you debug? It is by checking the toolbox. So that's why I said each time you compile your code, you must come back to the toolbox to see if there is an error, and you work on it. So now, the toolbox doesn't give you exactly what is wrong, but it gives you a clue. So now, the ideal way of debugging is that you must check the first bug, bug that is specified. Now it is telling me that 4 errors. So start from the top when you are debugging. Then it is telling me that on line 9, this is line 9. You can see this is my line number. This is line 9, and it's telling me that on colon 29. Do I know which colon I'm working on? You can see this is telling me that this is the colon I'm working on. So now I'm going to 4. So you will notice as I move my cursor, it is telling me my colon. So you can see it is telling me that on colon 29. But looking at it, there's nothing wrong unless I come here and I realize, oh, I did not remember to put a quote. So like I said, your toolbox might not tell you what exactly your syntax error is all about, but it will give you a clue. It will give you somewhere you can start from. So sometimes it might be a semicolon, it might be a quote, it might be a parenthesis, it might be anything, but it will give you a clue, but not exactly what is wrong most times. So that is a syntax error. And a logic error is when you are trying to do something and it is doing another thing. So let's assume you want to sum up a number, and by mistake you are multiplying the number. So it is not telling you that there is a problem on the toolbox, but when you are executing the script, maybe the EA or the indicator, you are seeing that, okay, it's not doing what you want. So that is a logical error. It is doing the wrong thing. Maybe you are not able to formulate the right strategy you're not able to formulate the right algorithm or the right breakdown to tackle the problem. So that is giving you a logical error. So logical error will not be indicated in your toolbox, but you will only notice when you are running the script, maybe through backtest or on live chat. So how do you know when you are having a logical error, and how do you debug? To be sure that you do not have any logical error, you need to backtest and do proper backtest, like for a long time, and be sure that everything is working fine. Also, when you are backtesting, make sure that you have your Jonah tab activated so that you will see the errors, the logical error. Then also, if you want to debug, you can use things like alert at each level. So as we go deeper, we are going to intentionally, and sometimes we make mistake, and we are going to see the syntax error in action, the logical error, and also the runtime error. But let me quickly explain what the runtime error is. The runtime error is similar to the logical error. So it doesn't reflect in the toolbox, but it happens when the program is already running. For example, maybe it's usually happen in 2 cases: when you are trying to divide a particular number by 0, or maybe you are trying to access an array index that is not possible to access. That is the situation where we have runtime error. So those are the 3 types of bugs that we have in MKL4. So as we go further, we look into this bug in details. I'll see you on the next one.